So if you're looking to be an aspiring entrepreneur, most likely there will be a catastrophic event. Like that could be like getting very angry at the person who owns your company.
Yeah.
To the point where you're like, I'll go start my own and do it better.
Yep.
Welcome everyone to, and it's your turn, Leslie.
Welcome to our podcast. We are here with Prairiepreneur, and my guest today on our episode is Emma. And Emma is, I'm not going to butcher your last name.
Schlittenhardt.
There it was.
Yep.
So she owns an interior design studio here in town, and I met you a couple years ago now.
Yeah, it's been a few.
Through Ben Henwood. So anyway, we had a couple of other guests that have been on the show, and one of them mentioned that we should have you on the show.
Yeah,
Robert Feeney.
We've had your name written down for a little while.
Well, we've rescheduled it.
And thanks for Oh, see how this goes. So Emma says that she's been on a couple podcasts recently. So after the show, Leslie, we get to ask
Ours would have been first.
where we rank.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah. Sucks most, sucks less, sucks more. I use that word a lot. It's in my business and anyhow. But okay, so keep going.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, I own an interior design studio here in Wichita. Hardt Studio is the name, and we've been in business now for about 3.5 years. I started it during the height of the COVID pandemic, and I was sent home from work, bored most of my day, and decided to start doing some freelance interior design. My background, my college degree, and my passion is in interior design, but the entrepreneurship route was never one that I thought that I was going to take. But my husband is very entrepreneurial, and so he was a big proponent of me starting my own business and was very encouraging of that process. So I started that, and it just took off. I had a lot of success with doing residential interior design for mostly friends and family at the beginning, because that's kind of how it started. And it starts for a lot of entrepreneurs, I think.
Absolutely.
The support there, even though, sometimes your friends suck, but I'm just kidding.
Sometimes they do. Leslie just posts to them all. And then she shares all of her friends. It's a good thing we're in business together and friends. Does that change anything about...
I feel like it makes it more complicated. I don't know. Anyway, so I started it, and then after my first year of doing it by myself, I was busy enough that I hired my first employee. And then this last year, I hired my second employee who does social media and marketing for us. So I have a full-time interior designer, I have a full-time marketer, and then I have a brand new organization and staging person who helps out a lot too.
So would you say that the COVID pandemic was kind of the boot that just kicked you off
out of the
nest.
Edge,
out of the nest?
Yes, I would say that. And I hear that actually quite a bit from entrepreneurs.
We were talking about that.
Yeah.
There's usually some catapult.
Yeah.
Or catalytic event of some kind.
Yeah. So it was, as terrible as it was, for me, it was not the worst thing ever.
Well, we've been talking that's a common theme that we hear on the show, and the guests we just had on prior to your coming in today, we just had a whole conversation about like the whole suck factor.
Yeah.
So if you're looking to be an aspiring entrepreneur, most likely there will be a catastrophic event. Like that could be like getting very angry at the person who owns your company.
Yeah.
To the point where you're like, I'll go start my own and do it better.
Yep.
And you might do that and accomplish all of the above. So I think that's really good. We haven't not talked about that, a catalytic event, which probably can't necessarily be controlled. None of us could control COVID. No. Only how we responded. Yep. But you responded and started a business, and it's going well.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's going really, really great. So
So is your business name part of your last name?
Yes. So my last name is Schlittenhardt, and the last 5 letters of that are Hardt.
So Hardt Studios.
Hardt Studios, yeah. It sounds a little bit nicer than Schlittenhardt. A little easier for people to spell and say and remember and all that.
Well, okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, who's Emma? Are you from Wichita, Kansas, Emma? Because this is Prairiepreneurs. You know
Yep.
that. That's the name of our podcast.
Yeah, I am.
I'm still not. I'm getting there.
Prairiepreneur.
Are you there? Do you like that name? We didn't even have a name.
It's
we didn't
cute.
even have a name in the
It's
very
cute. I
beginning.
like it.
She says it's cute.
It's cute.
He says preneur is a buzzword right now.
Preneur.
Is preneur a buzzword,
Preneur.
Emma?
I don't think I've heard it, but that doesn't mean anything.
Like
'cause-
entrepreneur.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't
It's a
mean anything.
buzzword,
I don't
I
know the
think.
slang terms.
I've been
these
told
days.
that. Okay. But you think it's cute.
I think it's yeah, it's
Emma
clever.
thinks
It's
cute.
clever.
Oh, clever.
You know, cute,
Okay. Well,
clever.
you guess who came up with that name? No.
Leslie,
Robert.
Robert Feeney. Okay, of course. That doesn't surprise me. I love
Because when
Robert.
we had Robert on this show, we didn't even have a name for the show.
Okay.
Because Leslie wanted to add one more thing to my plate because I don't have enough to do. And she doesn't have enough to do. And she came up with this great idea one day and she said, Chris, we're just doing it.
Yep.
I said, we don't have a name. She said, okay, whatever. Start booking
without a
people.
name.
I wanted it to be why Wichita? Like, why do people start businesses here? Why do they choose that? Why did they stay here once you get a certain level of success instead of going into a bigger town? You know, like most people, as they ramp their businesses up, they want to take things to a bigger level, which is a bigger playing field, bigger city, that sort of thing. But there's a lot
But
of
nobody
people
would
that we
know. They
know.
would just look at it and it would say, why Wichita? And they would just have a big question mark in their mind. Why what?
Like, I
why
don't
what
know
about
why.
what?
Yeah.
So
At least
you
Prairiepreneur
right?
has the buzz, right?
Okay, if you say so.
I don't. Well, Robert likes it, and at least he gave us a name. And sorry, didn't mean to digress.
No,
but
it's okay.
Tell us more about yourself. Yeah,
I am
are you from here?
I am from here. I was born in Detroit, Michigan, but my parents moved here when I was about 2 years old, so I don't remember anything there, of course. And then I was homeschooled growing up. So
Very good.
I met my now husband when I was 16 years old in high school. We dated all through high school, got married, and like I said, he's an entrepreneur. I became an entrepreneur.
What does he do?
He does creative work as well. So he's a creative director for a company out of Las Vegas, remotely, of course, but he also does freelance website building, graphic design, branding, all that
Marketing,
good stuff.
branding, all
Yeah.
of it.
So we're both creatives. We always joke that we pick our restaurants based on the atmosphere and not the food. So like we love First Mile Kitchen because he's obsessed with like the branding and how the menu is laid out and all that. And I love the interior design. So we go there all the time. And of course the food there is also
It's
good.
good.
But even if it weren't, we'd probably still go there because we just like the vibe. And we like even the little stuff like the place setting when you sit down, is already set up and ready to go and it looks pretty. And we just love that. So so we love.
So how long you been married?
We have been married 4.5 years.
You have kids?
We have no kids.
Okay.
We plan
set
to
up
have
for
kids
two
in
entrepreneurs.
the future, but yeah, we
They
right.
do extensive traveling.
We do. Yeah, we love to travel. So my dad is from Germany originally. He's a immigrant. My mom met him and brought him back here to the States. And so all of my family on my dad's side lives in Germany.
there. No
so
kidding.
I grew up traveling very often and being used to, the long flights, not being really scared of foreign travel because I think it is a little intimidating to a lot of people, but we love to go experience other cultures. I think it's a great way to kind of expand on your creative mindset and, seeing all the new architecture, all the foods and getting out of your comfort zone is just a really good way to do that. So we love doing that. We just got back last summer from a trip to Italy, Greece, Austria, and Germany.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's quite a trip.
I find hotel design is probably my absolute favorite.
Yeah, like boutique hotel.
In that
And
in that part of the world or anywhere?
Anywhere.
Anywhere.
I mean, I find a lot of inspiration from that. I was talking to an investor that's flipping a higher end property right now, and we were having a back and forth conversation because he wants everything to be like a subway tile and, very male investor.
Trendy, safe,
I don't even think trendy. I just think safe.
Safe, yeah.
Like very
neutral.
bland.
Cost
Yeah.
effective.
Yeah. And so, and I'm all about that because I think you can do design on a cost effective, on a budget.
Yeah.
Leslie's colorful.
But anyway, so we've been having this kind of back and forth. That's actually what I get to do when I leave here is help him go pick out tile
Nice.
and some different things because I'm trying to control it.
In a good way, right? In a good way.
Well, I'm like, I have your best interest at heart.
That's
I love
right.
you. And this is what we're going to do.
Well, the last thing Wichita needs is another subway tiled
Amen.
house.
Amen.
Yeah.
So
Okay, I'll
what
have
got
to think
you
about that.
inspired to get into interior design?
So like I said, it's something that I've always been passionate about. I mean, I was the kid that at age 10 at midnight, I would be rearranging my room. And my mom would come in and be like, what on earth are you doing? And I'm like dragging my bed across the floor. I'm like, I just really wanted to rearrange things right now.
I was that way.
Yeah, I was.
Really?
Yeah, they'll tell you, my parents will tell you that I painted my room probably about every other year. Like I would beg them to paint it a new color because I'd paint it pink and then be sick of it and then paint it yellow and, gross.
You did this too.
Yes.
Okay.
See, great minds. And so it
You wouldn't have wanted to see my room.
no, messy.
No.
Oh.
Just not fun and artsy like that.
Okay.
That came later. Sorry.
Yeah, so it's something that I think I've always been passionate about, but then I kind of grew into that a little bit more in high school when I started to think about what I wanted to do with my life. And at the time, HGTV, Joanna Gaines, we would watch every night. And I don't want to say that she was necessarily an inspiration, but it kind of put it into my mind like, oh, hey, people do this for a living. And it kind of looks fun as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it'd be a great career choice for me. And then I worked at an architecture firm actually when I was about 18, and I started to see that side of things, and I was able to do a lot of the interior design work for his clients, and I just grew in that passion of being able to help people through this creative outlet. Yeah.
So, do you have brothers and sisters, Emma?
I have
what's
two.
your upbringing look like?
Yeah, I have two. I'm the middle of three girls.
Middle
kid
girls,
of three
okay.
girls. Yeah.
Got it.
They all still live here in Wichita. My little sister just got married. And we're good friends. So
I was going to ask you that.
Time,
You have a close relationship?
We do. Yeah. My older sister has two boys now, two kids, and, they're absolutely the best. They're like my makeshift kids. So it's great because I get to have them over, hang out,
Sure,
and then send them
home.
back. Yeah.
That's like
later.
grandparenting.
Exactly.
I love it.
Yeah.
So what? So were you close growing up to your siblings?
We were. I mean, being homeschooled.
Yeah, you're homeschooled. You're close.
You're close, which oftentimes
Were you
means
pretty
you're
good?
fighting.
Like what kind of kid were you?
I was a very good kid. My older sister was the mischievous one, and
That's what older sisters are supposed to do.
I would usually get in trouble with her at first, and then my parents would realize that I actually didn't do anything wrong. I was just following, got in with the wrong crowd, and then she'd get punished, and
Your
I wouldn't.
sister was the wrong crowd.
Yeah. She'll tell you this too. Like, we joke about it now. Yeah. One of the best stories is we were very into musicals. Both of my sisters are very musically talented. Okay. They can sing. They're good actors, dancers.
There's a lot of art. Are your parents artistic?
Well,
where does all the art come from?
My dad's an engineer.
Wow.
And my mom has her degree in psychology, but my dad introduced us all to musicals because when they met in college, he was very into musical theater. Not like performing it, but he just liked listening to it. His favorite musical is Les Miserables. And so my older sister, when she was 6, she was in that musical at MTW here in Wichita.
Okay.
And I don't know if you guys are familiar with it at all.
My
if you've
daughter
seen the
is
Hugh
doing
Jackman
Frankenstein
version.
this weekend.
Okay.
She's been in drama
That's
for
cool.
the last couple of years.
I've never seen that.
She is very.
I haven't seen that one
yes.
either.
Yeah. So anyway, so in this play, there's a little girl, and she's supposed to be like an orphan, and so she's all dirty. So my older sister and I had this great idea that we were gonna get her into the character that she was playing by going out into the backyard and her rolling around in the mud. And we both got sent to bed. Well, she had to take a shower, but then we got sent to bed at 4:00 in the afternoon with no dinner. My parents were just done. They were like, "Go, yep, nope,
Wow.
We've
Yeah.
had it with
That's
you.
funny.
done."
Okay, so what generation do you fall in?
I think
guess when
I'm
did you
right,
graduate?
like before the millennials. I graduated in 2016.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, I think
So you're
I'm,
in the You're in the
I think I'm
millennial.
technically a millennial. Yeah.
Are you in Generation X?
I don't know.
See, I don't really know either. I know I'm either
I've never
Gen
fit
Z or
into
millennial.
any kind of mold
and
of any
I'm
sort.
right at the cutoff.
Older
Yeah.
now because I don't know what to think of that.
It's really
statement at all.
vodka.
What are you? What's your? he's whatever generation puts vodka in a Starbucks cup.
X. Don't you know what you? I don't know why do they label them? Why is there the letters? What happens when they? I think right now
They
they're
are
on
out.
like.
Oh
are
yeah,
they out of
Gen Z.
Well, Z, yeah. But I thought there was another name for the next round.
They start over again. It's alpha.
Okay.
What are some of the trends that
I'm
you're
gonna pick
seeing
subway tile
right now?
tomorrow,
I'm
Leslie.
I'm gonna beat you with a subway tile.
Sorry, Emma.
I am seeing less gray, more color, less subway tile, more fun tiles. Lots of greenery incorporated. I've been seeing that since COVID.
We have a green
pretty
kitchen.
heavily. Totally green.
Wood, green, black.
Very cool.
On the cabinets. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, just a lot. I think.
Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, I
Is that
feel like
kinda-
it's done like a 360 since COVID. Because in 2020 is when everybody was painting everything gray.
And subway tile.
And subway tile. Gray walls, white subway tile. And there's nothing
Leslie's
wrong
gonna-
with that. What I always tell people is like, if you like it, great.
Right.
It's your house. You live in it. But
I made a video last year about the trends for 2023.
I think I remember that.
And I had on a sweater with a bunch of hearts on it. And I got lots of backlash on it because at the end of the video, though, I did say, this is what I'm reading on several different design sources. But the bottom line is, if you're not selling and you love something anyway, do whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly.
But don't call me and then be mad that I told you not to paint gray.
Yeah.
I really feel like we've been painting gray for a decade.
Yeah. Maybe it's been longer than that. Maybe I just think it's 2020
What-
because that's when
what's
I
the
got
color?
into
What's
it.
the
Yeah.
new gray?
Well, Sherwin-Williams color of the year is a light blue, so that's pretty cool. I am a huge proponent of painting walls white. That's what I almost
What kind
always
of
tell my
white though? 'Cause
clients.
isn't there 10,000 whites?
There are 10,000 whites. I have a couple that I always use. Snowbound is one of the ones that I always use. It's a Sherwin-Williams color. I painted my ceiling, my walls, and my trim all that color. People thought I was crazy. Like, you're going to paint your trim and your walls the same color? Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. And that's what I almost always tell clients to paint their walls. Now, I will go a little bit more brown or a little more gray undertones, just depending on what their flooring is. If they're terrified of white walls, for some reason, people have this idea that they're going to get dirty. I'm like, what are you doing with your walls that they're getting dirty?
Well, the dog's rubbing up against him and the kids are rubbing up against him.
Yeah,
And
I guess.
Yeah.
I do have a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
He likes to write on the wall.
Okay. Well,
I think they're worried about him being sterile too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I think what you bring into it is supposed to be the focal point.
Yep. I like to start with a blank slate, and that's why I like the white walls look.
Okay, this is a question that I have because I've been in conversation about this the last couple of days. How do you start your design? Do you have like one inspiration thing that you draw from, or
Usually a handful of inspiration that I draw from, but because I'm almost always doing remodels, there's usually some element that we're keeping.
yes?
Hardwood floors, trim color, even a piece of furniture that has to stay. And so that's usually like what it's centered around, because I know that that's a non-negotiable.
Whatever you're going to keep.
So if we're keeping cherry oak floors, well then I'm definitely not doing gray, right? Like there's nothing gray happening in that case.
So the investor that's remodeling this house right now, it's actually my grandmother's house that died in March.
Okay.
And so my family sold it to Nolan, and Nolan's redoing it. And he's like, so what kind of tile do you think? And I'm like, well, what are you going to do with the cabinets? What are you going to do with this? What are you going to do? He didn't have a plan for like any of it. And I'm like,
tile.
and I said, I have to have like a starting piece. And a lot of times, like when I would walk into a designer home gallery or whatever, I would be like, that tile, everything has to go around that one thing. And then I can pick less expensive things and have that be like the real showstopper of it. But I was always curious how the professionals do it, because I'm definitely not. I'm a total hack doing it.
I actually have a list that I'll go down the list and I'll pick it in that order for every room. So I'll start with, usually I actually don't start with paint color. I usually start with the floors and then trim. And it kind of just like is logical, like whatever's touching what. So the floors touch the trim touches the casing around the doors touches the door, and then I'll kind of go from there. I also like to start with the biggest area, so floors and wall. So once I've done that, kind of what I described, I will usually pick the wall and ceiling color.
Are you seeing more people paint their ceilings different colors?
Yeah, or wallpapering them. I think that's fun. I'm doing a powder bath right now where I'm wallpapering the ceiling and then down the back wall.
I love wallpaper.
Yeah, but it's better wallpaper than what used to be. It's not impossible to get off.
Right. No, I found out the hard way on the sticky, the peel and stick wallpaper, that you can't use the 3M things to hold art onto your wall.
Oh, because it'll rip off.
Pulls your wallpaper. Like it, all of a sudden I see this like Michael Potts picture just start leaning forward off of my wall. I'm like, ah. So I did learn that the hard way. Had to push it all back up and try to pop the bubbles back out of it, but it's fine.
So what does your business look like in 5 years from now? Where are you going? I know you got these 3 ventures you got to get up in the air, but
right.
What do you want it to do, and what do you want it to look like down the road?
Yeah, I want to grow in terms of employees. I'd love to have a couple more designers working for me because I'm a big proponent of working on my business, not in my business. That allows me to run my other businesses as well because I physically could not do all of the above otherwise. So I think that it's a couple more designers. I'd love to have one that specifically does commercial design, one that is more focused on residential. And then I want to be working with more builders here in Wichita, doing some new builds and whatnot. And I think that's what it looks like in 5 years.
So for those of you watching, if you don't know what it means to work on your business and not in your business, it means to no longer be the cook in your kitchen and hire a cook and build a bigger restaurant.
Yep, exactly.
Or build 100 restaurants.
Yeah.
Which you could never do if all you do is sit in the kitchen and make the food all day long.
Yep.
You got to get out of it.
Yep.
So.
And I can't go on my extensive trips if I have to be here designing people's houses. So.
Amen.
Just take some good pictures, Emma.
That's right.
Like smile, maybe do a pose.
Have you seen our Halloween pictures?
No.
Okay.
You've got to see them.
They look good.
My husband and I love Halloween, so we always get pretty elaborate, dress up, and do a fun photo shoot.
Hoodie thing for our brand. There was a Halloween thing.
Nobody could hear what you just said because you bent over.
We made a Halloween hoodie for Mortgage Punk, and it said, well, I can't turn around.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, you can say what it says and then turn around.
It says, debt will make you rich.
There you
Good debt. Not
Good
bad debt. Credit cards, bad debt. That will not make you rich.
We do have rental properties too. So speaking of good debt,
We should talk.
there you go.
I saw that. I saw you were on the Wichita investor page the other day, and you're like, "Send me info," and I'm like, "Look at you go, girl."
Have we run into each other in that space?
We
Have
actually
I talked
met.
to you before?
Yes, we actually met. But it was no. It was very brief at the Bobby Lane Christmas
Right.
thing.
I remember that now.
Shout out Bobby Lane.
Thought you looked familiar. Yeah, Bobby's our friend.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's sweet.
Huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
we met briefly. That's okay.
Small
Cool.
Wichita,
Yeah.
2 degrees of separation.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
2 degrees of yeah. Yes. Don't put that on this. Hey, there's a few clips on here. You have to get rid of them. They're
Blooper
bad.
reel.
Like I yawned one time. So I think I had a blank. I drew a blank out of the middle of nowhere. So anyhow, we're just trying to make sure that you have the best, most optimal experience on our Prairiepreneur podcast.
It's been
So this will be
great.
cropped down into like 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're hoping that that we top the
That Troy makes us proud.
the podcast. No, your podcast experience.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to make her podcast experience. If she had, I don't know how the other ones were.
Well, she said
But
yes to
I'm trying
this,
to-
so
I'm
they
trying
must
to
not have
make
been that bad.
Oh,
This
well.
is the most legit setup. I will say that. Like the
Cool.
the mics, the headphones, all
What
that.
about the name Prairiepreneur?
I like the name.
Does that sound legit? She says it sounded
I like
cute.
it.
It's like
Cute
Okay.
is good.
Okay. We need to make the logo look more cute,
There you go.
right?
I don't care.
I know
You spend all the
don't.
time doing it that you want.
I don't.
Your
have
logo
any
is your
time.
face.
Hmm.
That's how they're going to recognize you.
Okay.
Yeah. Probably true.
Leslie's smart.
Yeah, I know.
Uh,
Yeah, she is.
I listen to a
With
lot
very
of what
poor English,
I don't do
according
like the
to my
contractors that
comments.
Leslie hired. I listen to what she says because I know she's got valuable information. Clearly, those guys don't run their own business. If they do, they're done.
Yeah, clearly.
They're out.
yeah.
They close.
Well, they were out for me. That's for darn sure.
Is there anything else you want to tell us, Emma, before we wrap up? Any way you want to encourage
No,
someone
yeah.
looking to start a business? Or?
I mean, yeah, I'd say the biggest thing, it's scary and it's never not going to be scary, but if there's something you're passionate about, go for it, and your passion will drive the business, and I think you'll be successful no matter what you do. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Love it.
Thank
Leslie,
you guys
what
for
do you
having
got?
me.
The last question we always ask.
Oh.
So
Do you want me to ask it since you opened the show?
yes, please finish it up. Wrap it up. Let's go.
Okay, here's our final question. Who would you recommend that we go after and bring on? Who would be a great entrepreneur, founder, business owner to bring on our next episode?
I have a good friend named Jocelyn, and she runs a car detailing company called 2U Auto. She started out in like car mechanics, which as a female, she's my age or a little bit older.
Wow.
She has a really cool story. So
You'd recommend her. Anyone
I
else?
recommend her.
Or she's on the top of mind.
She's top of mind, probably because I'm having dinner with her tonight. But let me do some thinking.
I have
I've got
another
a couple.
younger female that comes out and does auto detailing on all of our cars.
What is her?
Oh, yeah.
is it-
Diana
Oh, okay.
DeWitt.
Oh, I've heard of
Triple
her.
C.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've heard of her.
That's really cool. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
breaking the norm.
Yeah. Jocelyn and her husband are both entrepreneurs. And
Okay.
so my husband and I get along with them very well because it's not too common to find people who are entrepreneurs, much less couple friends
Agreed.
who are our age who are entrepreneurs. So,
Cool.
yeah, they're
Let her
great.
know.
I will.
Say, hey, I met this crazy guy that I ran into once before
I'll see her in 3 hours.
on a
I'll let her know.
podcast.
Yeah.
And you think,
And I figured she would tell us her husband.
I mean, yeah, he would be a great guest. He'd be. I didn't want to be too cliche, but he would be a good guest.
awesome.
Jacob is his name.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everyone, thank you for watching this episode of Prairiepreneur. And thank you, Emma, for being a part of our program today.
Thank you.
And
Talking
thank you
about
for
Taylor
allowing
Swift.
us to reschedule.
Rescheduling you 5 times and still
Only
loving
2.
us.
Yeah.
And it was
Two.
Chris's fault.
I
That's
exaggerate sometimes.
Okay.
Just not when I close loans. Those numbers, they
That's
can't.
good. That's probably
They are what they are.
illegal.
Yep. All right, guys. Thank you.
All right.
See you
Thank you.
later. Bye.